We're going to be seeing a lot of nonagenarians in the news today because they are among the first to be given their first doses of the COVID-19 vaccine on what is a momentous first day of Britain's vaccination programme. At 6:31 a.m. today, not long ago, Margaret Keenan became the first person in the world to officially receive the vaccine outside research trials. She turns 90 next week, and she'll need a second dose in 21 days, as will everyone getting that Pfizer Biontech vaccine today and over the coming weeks. She was an inpatient in Coventry Hospital, one of 70 hospitals administering the vaccine today, and she'd gone into hospital about a week ago for some tests and was then chosen to be the first in the UK's biggest ever vaccine programme before she leaves hospital today. That gives you a little clue about how they're doing this, because while they are trying to start with care home residents and those over 80, logistically it's quite complicated to give this vaccine because of the cold storage needed until the point of delivery. And that means that older people who are already in hospital have jumped the queue, so to speak. Maybe if you were going just in terms of need, they might have done it slightly differently, starting with care homes. But Matt Hancock, the health secretary, has said that he is planning to get care homes vaccinated before Christmas, ideally, and there are apparently millions more of this vaccine due into the country before the end of this year.
Now, we're seeing it really depends on which country you look at, but given the rapid nature of the approval process in the UK, what's the sentiment across the country, if you can gauge it, in terms of acceptance of the vaccination or the readiness to receive it?
There's a lot of reporting of people who are a bit nervous about the vaccine, and perhaps that's understandable because, of course, it hasn't gone through years of results gathering that some other vaccines might have done. That's simply because if we think about the breakneck speed they've developed this vaccine in, this virus wasn't known to human beings much over a year ago. It was only a year ago that it started to be reported in the way it is now and categorized in China. So this is an enormous achievement on the part of the scientific community internationally. But coming with that is the idea that some people are bound to be a bit nervous, even though authorities say that all of the most stringent checks have been carried out on this vaccine and the research that has brought it to market. Of course, the health secretary and the scientific advisors in the UK here, like everywhere else in the world, are pointing out to people that they have done thorough checks on this. The reason the process has been quicker than usual is just because it had to be. They needed to get something out there as soon as possible. And to that end, they say they didn't cut corners. They simply accelerated the work that's done normally. So the British authorities have, in fact, been checking the data as it came out all the way through the summer and until now, as opposed to what might normally happen in similar trials for vaccines, where they may wait until later on in the process, till they have everything in one go and then check it and scrutinize it then. So some nervousness, but I think on the whole, most people are very pleased to see this happening now. And there is a bit of patriotism, I suppose, also in the UK over this country being the first to get there in the world.
Yeah, along those lines here, and as it seems to take about a month for this vaccine to become effective, if it does, in individuals here. There's still a lot of caution being expressed here that there could be months still of variations of lockdown ahead.
Yes, indeed. Of course, what they're saying is that people can't relax just because these vaccines are going out. There's only 800,000 doses in the country at the moment. That's only enough for 400,000 people. Even with the full order that the government has put in for this vaccine and others, it's going to take a very long time before people are able to perhaps drop their guard against the vaccine, to relax a bit more, engage in more normal social activity. We obviously haven't been given a date for that. They're tentatively saying they hope it might be around spring when things start to return to normal a bit. But of course, there's so many things that can go wrong, and that's not necessarily anybody's fault. The manufacture of vast amounts of vaccine, not just for the UK market, but for the entire world, the distribution of those vaccines, especially this particular one, which requires super cold refrigeration in order to keep it active so that it will work for people when it's put into their arm. No point in a vaccine that doesn't work because it's somehow been denatured by the wrong temperature. So all of these things could make problems over time, could delay the rollout of the vaccines, and that in turn would delay any return to more normal life. And similarly, there's been a stark warning here from one of the health advisors to the government who said he doesn't think COVID-19 will ever go away completely, but these vaccines will be an enormous part in helping people adapt their lives over the coming years so that we don't have to live with such stringent and strict rules on our movement and our social mixing.